And, it's never a dull day when you try to do new things outside of your comfort zone. So
that's the beautiful world of teaching, isn't it?
Yeah. Watch me stumble so that way I can tell you how not to do something in the future. All right. So, Tom, thank you for taking the time in order to join us today. Kind of behind me here, I have some of my students from the Intro to IT and Esports course that we've been working on for the last 14 days. And then too, I got a little stream going for this too for our Discord channel, that if they wanted to pop in, that they could hear about some of these experiences that these individuals have had. So first off, thank you for taking your time today in order to join us. And kind of what we would like to get out of this is just learning a little bit about your background. Our demographic here is they're entering high school. Some are just wrapping up middle school. But essentially, from when you were in their seat, essentially, how have you kind of gotten to the position that you're in? What different types of jobs have you had in this industry? Skills and talents that you've kind of developed along the way, and then essentially any sort of advice that you may have for these young individuals looking to kind of break into esports. So I guess let's jump into your background a little bit. Like, how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, sure. Firstly, well, hello everyone. It's a real pleasure to be here to chat with you guys. If I speak too fast or you don't understand something I say, just ask me to repeat it. I may have an English accent, but seemingly people don't understand me when I go through drive-throughs, so I always have to keep an American accent in reserve. I've been working in esports for just over a couple years now. My current position is partnerships and sales manager at a company called Playfly Esports. Playfly Esports used to be a company called CSL Esports, which some of you might know. We've been operating in collegiate and scholastic esports since around 2009. And recently we just partnered with NACE to create the NACE Star League, which is the main, it is the main collegiate esports league in the US right now. We had over 700 schools with 13,000 students last season, and we're hoping to increase those numbers this year again. If you look at my background, obviously I am from England. I've been living in America for just over 4 years, well, just over 3 years now. I originally started kind of playing video games since I was a kid, always into video games, always playing games, always playing with my mates, entering competitions kind of whenever and wherever we could. We didn't really know it when we were playing at that age, but that was really kind of the start of grassroots esports. We were, entering competitions against other students, trying to win, $100 or $50 each weekend. We were terrible. I'm still terrible in League of Legends, but we did what we could. It was around that time that I was like, okay, I want to get into gaming, and I really want to get into esports. So I actually went to game design school. I did an undergraduate degree once I left what you guys would call high school. In England, it's called secondary school. And I went to go and study game design and production. And during that, I took a bunch of business studies minor classes because I was really interested in the project management side of things, because I couldn't code, I couldn't model, I couldn't play very well. So the only real thing I could do was build PowerPoints and give good presentations. So I kind of filled into that management and sales side of things anyway. So did my whole degree. Once I graduated, esports in England is in a very different stage than it is in the US right now. So there wasn't really any direct esports jobs I could just go and get once I graduated. So I went down the traditional business route. I just went working in a call center. I worked in a marketing company, but I was always trying to get involved with esports, volunteering my time where I could, but also still competing and still playing with my friends, albeit at a very lower rank. I then had the opportunity kind of a couple of years ago to come and study in America. And that's really when I got my first taste of collegiate esports. I did an internship for a collegiate esports company, and then I started focusing my whole degree in esports. So I did a business master's degree, and in that degree, I had a lot of freedom to choose what I studied about. So once I started this internship, I basically started writing everything about esports. So all of my company analysis, my finance reports, my marketing plans was all based around fictitious and real esports companies. So I was really doing a lot of I don't want to call it groundbreaking, but new research at the university, because esports wasn't something they focused on. Once I finished university, I had known about CSL, obviously through my internship, and they offered me a job straight out of the gate. I was really lucky to get a job with the company, and then I've been here ever since, really. Working on the business side of things for esports is really interesting, and it's really fun, because you get to see kind of a level higher. There's the level that the players are at when it comes to decision making and trend setting, but working on that kind of level higher up, you really get to see a lot of the decisions being made that shape the industry, and that's really incredible to be a part of. Creating partnerships and deals that have scholarships tied to them is really amazing, because for example, we just did a deal with AMD where we had a PC to give away to someone at the end of the deal, and to be able to make that difference at a business level was really fun. So in a nutshell, that's kind of me, how I got from where I am to where I am now. But I can go deeper and further if you guys need it.
So I guess, as you were saying, like there is a separation between what is happening in England versus the United States. I know they're trying to make some. There's, if I'm not mistaken, the British Esports Association that's starting to kind of come together. But I guess, what do you see kind of moving forward as far as, I guess, legitimizing in the space? Because you're now part of a major brand in the space that's, I think, going to bring a lot of legitimacy and structure to the space. So I guess, kind of from where you're sitting in Playfly, what kind of direction do you see this kind of taking from some of your conversations?
That's a great question, because a lot of my job is looking at how to make money, which, for high school students and middle school students sounds really exciting. My job is to make money for esports. I get to sit and make money on Rocket League. It's a fun and exciting job, but it's challenging because games inherently don't carry value. If you look at football and basketball, for example, when you and your students play basketball at middle school and at high school, no one no one owns the game of basketball. Basketball is just a sport. It's just a thing, just like running is, or just like eating is. It's a thing. The video games are owned by people. They're people's property. So we have to always work in collaboration with these publishers. So where I see it kind of going on the next level is having these companies that will start to run the official titles and be the official supplier and the official tournament host for these games, to take a load off the publishers. We're also expanding into multimedia rights, which is something that your students may have not heard of before, but it's taking on the rights to basically own the brand and the logo, so we can then sell it to other brands for schools. So Northwoods University is a great example. They are one of the biggest colleges around right now, but they're a small college in Michigan, and they could be making a lot more money if they had their multimedia rights in check. So moving into that level of business, into the next kind of level of, okay, we've got you competing and here's the money to run the league. Now we're moving to that stage of, okay, now we can sell your logo to Tim Hortons for 50 grand a year, or to Razer or Monster Energy.
I mean, you have me at Tim Hortons.
It's a crazy one. They sponsor about 4 or 5 different universities, which I find incredible.
Really? I did not know that at all.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So I guess kind of a question to go along with this topic is how much of the legal side of stuff has been a learning curve for you? Because I know from my position, as I'm sure you know, but like helping run the state of Wisconsin, as well as working with other state leaders, like I have read so many legal documents. I've actually now become the person that reads the terms of service agreements. Like I feel like wow, my life has become really fun and fascinating that I'm reading terms of service.
I do the exact same thing. Legal issues in esports is really, really interesting because like I mentioned, no one owns the game. You know, the Riot has the rights to League of Legends. They could send us an email and cease and desist us tomorrow, you know, and our whole business would fall. So having those legal agreements in place with companies is really important. To give you an example, CSL, we used to run the official contract for Collegiate League of Legends when it first started, but we lost the contract. And now if a team plays in our league, you can't play in CLOL. So there's a really interesting legal issue there. Also, standardization for legal contracts in this space is wild. I've seen companies that will give us a contract and we can get it back within a day. Other companies that you wouldn't expect send us a contract and it goes through 7 versions of back and forth redlining. So there's no standardization. It's very much like the Wild West still, as you must know.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think kind of moving forward, so as you're working with some of these other companies, you're trying to bring in partnerships and other brands. What do some of the conversations look like? Like, are they non-esports related brands, I would assume, that you're trying to bring in? And I guess how do you try to sell some of those industries to get involved?
Yeah, so we split our industries into 2 main pots, which I think most other people do. You have what we call endemic and then non-endemic. So endemic brands are brands that are supposed to be in esports. So Razer, HyperX, Corsair, all of these big brands. Non-endemic brands are brands that have nothing to do with esports. So car manufacturers, fast food restaurants, things like that, personal training apps, things like that. When we talk to endemic brands, it's more about making them understand the difference that they could make by getting involved, bringing their name, bringing their legitimate brand. You know, when we had AMD on board, it was massive for us because, you know, that's one of the big manufacturing companies that's taking esports seriously. Same with Corsair, you know, a peripherals company that's taking esports seriously in the collegiate level. When we sell to non-endemic brands, we're really selling the students over the esports side of things. You know, we're selling that, hey, you know, getting involved with esports shows that you care. And if you're Old Spice or you are Geico or one of these big companies, having students that are going to be using your product in esports will build a real big brand network within this small cutoff community. Because you have to think of it, I always say to people, it's like discovering a new planet. You know, there's still so much untouched potential here, and there's still so much untouched community because it's been locked away and it's been kept secret for so many years because people think, oh, those video gaming nerds sit in one corner with themselves and play D&D. We're not going to talk to them. And now you've got bigger brands getting involved. Everyone else is starting to turn their heads and go, oh, maybe esports is serious. Maybe it is, you know, the next wave. Maybe it is better than the metaverse. So we'll get involved now. So we really change the conversation depending on who we talk to. To recap, for endemic brands, we go, you know, you're giving the esports people that know you legitimacy. And for the non-endemic brands, we're saying that this is your chance to get in before everyone else notices.
So my next question here, kind of based off of that, and obviously I don't need specific numbers here, but for some of these companies, what is the range of financial investment that they're getting involved for? Because like it's something that like I see, like it's now Team Liquid Honda for like the LCS, and it's like getting your name there is huge. Like what are we looking at for barriers for brands?
Yeah, so I can very honestly just tell you the lowest deal I've done is for $5,000. That was for a season-long sponsorship. The biggest deal I've just done was for $300,000. So there's a lot of money when it comes to multi-year deals. It's still not as much as the pro scene, but if you make the ears of the kids stick up here on this one, if you get into the pro leagues, you can be doing deals of tens of millions of dollars. And if you think you've got a 10% commission on that, you can be making, you know, 6 figures on $1 million deals. So it really gets up there. If you look at TSM and FTX, that was a deal that was worth just over $230 million. So that's a lot of money. That's not money to just be playing around with. And even at our level, to be getting deals worth, you know, $50,000, $100,000 is massive for the collegiate scene.
Karen, you got a question?
Uh,
5 what?
question.
Well, give us one question to start.
Why do people in England call football soccer? Why do people in England call
You're getting a non-esports question.
That's okay.
It's why is it considered football and not soccer in England?
Well, it was named football before it was named soccer. So it's a literal term. We kick the ball with the foot.
In our version, we barely use our feet.
You guys just went, no, we're not going to name it that. We're going to choose something completely different. I don't care what the world says.
We have a track record of that, but
Yeah.
Next question, Kyron, dare I ask?
When did you start in esports?
About how long ago did you start to get involved? Whether that's from a player perspective or like a
I've been in esports since I was about 14 or 15 from competing and playing, but in terms of a career, I've been paid to work in esports for just over 2 years.
And how about unpaid? Because I'm assuming there was internships or experiences.
About 3 or 4 beforehand. Yeah, about 3. But that was mainly volunteering, ad hoc, as and when.
Other questions?
I asked this one earlier to another person, but so right now you're talking about sponsorships, and I'm wondering for the collegiate scene too. Oh no, I forgot my question. Okay, so the collegiate scene, since gaming and esports right now is like a volatile market where games can spike up to being the most popular to being one of the lowest in the industry. Do you think that's the reason why some companies hold back on giving you tens of millions like they do maybe in the NFL just for a 30-second ad?
That is an absolutely brilliant question. So thank you very much for asking that. Yeah, the inherent value of esports games is very different from the NFL. Esports definitely relies on trends. I mean, if you look at the rise of Valorant, for example, when that was first launched, it was launched to be an esport. Riot made it very clear when they launched Valorant, they said, we're taking this to the top. This will be a new esport. This is where our money's going. So then teams will start getting Valorant teams together and companies will start spending money on Valorant. But now we've seen that there's a bunch of teams that are dropping Valorant because they didn't get into the new Riot League or they've seen a lot of money issues. And now those players go without homes. So it's incredibly volatile for new games. I mean, I don't know if you may not have heard, it may not have kind of hit the trends, but did any of you ever play Rogue Company when it came out? Yeah, Rogue Company was supposed to be a big esport, but it flopped, so no teams played it. Dr. Disrespect helped build the game, so he had a lot of say in it, but it just didn't do very well when it hit competitive play, so people didn't play it. Teams weren't made, and then there was no league, so it got dropped. Same with another game called Free Fire. Free Fire was supposed to be the North American answer to CSGO, but again, it flopped. Teams didn't play, the league shut down, and then sponsors pulled out because the game isn't popular. So it definitely relies on a lot of gaming trends, because like you said, if you want real results, just go and spend $100,000 on the NFL. You will get more sales than if you spend the same amount in esports. But the thing with esports is that $100,000 helps build the community. It's being used to build the tournament, the competition, where in the NFL, that money is pretty much just going straight in the pockets of the executives.
Aaron, question?
Great question.
No? All right, I'll come back to you. So, because I do want to try to respect time here too, but I guess, and I'll ask this just general question. What kind of advice do you have for them moving forward? Whether that's education-based or if it's career-based, just some sort of advice for those looking to break into the industry.
Yeah, so esports is often looked at an industry that just requires players and coaches, but excuse me, but I'm sort of the living, breathing evidence that it isn't just that. There are esports teachers, there are esports salespeople, marketing, broadcasting, talent management, PR. There is so much now within esports that it's become an entirely new industry from video gaming. There is always going to be a space for you in the esports community. It just might not be as a player, but you might be a very good player manager. You might be a very good esports dietitian. You could be a very good esports strength and conditioning coach. So if you have an avenue of expertise, there's a huge chance that esports needs it right now, because it's getting all the new fresh talent. You kids are at the right age now where you can go to university for an esports degree and be years ahead of people like me who never had that opportunity. There is so many ways to get involved with esports that even if you don't play video games or you don't enjoy video games, you can still get involved. And also, passion is the real big thing. If you're passionate about it, you'll succeed.
I do recall, I think the number is like 96 schools offer some sort of major or minor in esports. All right, Chiron, what's your question?
Well, if you have esports degree, where you can go to after that?
So I guess
I didn't quite hear the question there. Yeah, sorry.
So I'm going to rephrase it just a smidge here. Like, do you think the industry values an esports degree, or is it just could you say that just a general business degree would transfer as well?
It's a great question. It's difficult because, you know, the ultimate thing is if you've got 20 years experience over a degree, then they're going to take the experience. And in esports, the issue is no one really has 20 years of experience right now. So getting a degree in esports would really help give you a head start in the way that you'll have been caught up. You haven't needed to go all the way up the ranks and work 17 hours a day for no money. You can go and do a degree and skip a lot of that. So I am always a big supporter of education. So I'm always going to say, yeah, go and get the degree, and then no matter what happens, even if esports fails, you'll still have learned a lot of very good tactics to survive just in any career. I often say the best thing you get taught on a master's degree is how to research. It's never normally anything about the degree. It's just how to correctly research. And it's true. I use my researching ability more than I use any other ability I learned at university.
I think for my master's degree, it was just like 20 papers.
It's like how to Google. That's what you learn.
Pick a topic, whatever you think, and then try to defend your position or forecast what you think. Like, I think I did like an 11-page paper on, is universal basic income a necessity because of job automation?
Yeah. I always say to people that the very fun thing about doing an esports degree at a non-esports school is the first 3 pages of any essay were describing what esports is. So it saved me a lot of word count.
Just copy pasta.
Yeah, I got funny sidetrack. I had a meeting with my professor about plagiarism, but I had copied it from my own paper because it was the same explanation.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Tom here?
What is your favorite color?
What is your favorite game?
My favorite color is, I'd say it's like a sunset orange, like this color here, the Patagonia hat. It's my favorite color.
All right, Tom. Okay. What is your favorite game?
So my favorite esports is probably Rocket League to play. My favorite game right now is No Man's Sky because it's a very relaxing, chilled game.
I think it's kind of interesting. Everybody that we've talked to so far, they have like their esport title that they like to play, and then they have this is my game to chill. Like,
we have to. It's the thing is like you have to be. I only started playing Rocket League when I got this job because I was like, well, I have to at least know the community and know who's who.
I 100% understand that. It's like my goal this summer was to try to get to gold ranked in every game that we're going to offer this upcoming year.
Exactly. See, it helps.
And so I can help my players too, like just to understand enough about the game in order to at least speak somewhat intelligently on the game. So
Well, the thing is as well is Mike, when you get to the kind of industry next level, is streamers and students will invite you to play. And I have to start panicking about playing Rocket League. So I'm like, right, I have to get good just in case I get invited back on a charity stream.
Well, Tom, I want to be respectful of your time. So I really appreciate you coming to speak with us and sharing your insight and experience so far. I will, of course, circle back with you in the future. This is something that I would love to keep kind of doing, just learning how people are getting into the industry, how things are changing, not only for my own perspective, but in order to help teach the next up and coming. So.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. Your students asked some very great questions. That's really encouraging to see. But always happy to come back. Always happy to help out on whatever you need.
Appreciate your time today, Tom. Look forward to speaking to you soon.
Perfect. Thanks, everyone.
Another one?
Step 4.